Hello and welcome. So, today we are going to start with the first chapter of physics that is there in class 11's ISC syllabus. Now, since ISC syllabus is very much similar now to the NCERT syllabus, so if you are studying ISC syllabus, it will be covering your NCERTs also because it will be covering your competitive exams. That's why it becomes quite important. So your competitive exams can be easily covered with your ISC syllabus. So just focus on your ISC syllabus a lot. All right, there is a reduction, significant reduction in the chapters, but I'm going to ignore those reductions because mostly these reductions won't be helpful for you in your competitive exams, and there will be a problem in your base also. So why to spoil your base, right? So we are not going to do that. We are going to just follow whatever was there from before, and we'll just ignore the reduction in the syllabus. Now the first thing that we are going to study about, the first chapter, is physical world. Now, to understand the physical world, we also need to know that what are the things that is present in the physical world. What is physics in the first place? The physics is a study of something, right? So what about those things? What are they? Who studied them? And how they are influencing us in our day-to-day life. This is what is there in this chapter. It is a very easy chapter, the first chapter. Though these chapters are ignored, because the first chapters are always ignored in mostly, but there can be one or two questions for your competitive exams from this chapter. So we are not going to ignore. We are going to mainly focus these things from little bit from your NCERTs, because this syllabus quite matches a lot with the NCERT, though not the whole chapter is not required for you. So let's start. The first point here, I'm just showing you whatever is there in the physics syllabus of ISC. Now the first one is the branches of physics. Now, what is the meaning of physics? What do you mean by physics? So whatever, any phenomena that is happening around us, we are going to study that with physics. For example, if you have heard of, recently there was a Neowise comet coming around, right? So to understand the comet, we think it's geography. No, it is not geography. It is geography with physics. We are going to study geography only when we understand physics very well. So physics becomes very important to understand all those natural phenomena that is happening around us. All right. Now, long before this, physics was not very much known to people. Like, no one cared so much about physics. Around 1600s, say the time when British came to India, or the time the revolution was about to start, the European revolution was about to start. During that time, 1600s to 1900s, there was a idea of physics, and that idea of physics was known as the classical physics, where they mainly focused on the mechanics, thermodynamics, that is heat, acoustics means sound, and electrodynamics is electricity and magnetism, and lastly we have the optics or the light. So all this was included in the classical physics. But as the days went by, and then there was the preparation for world wars, and all those problems started. There were countries fighting amongst themselves during the 1900s. After 1900s, okay, so after 1900s, before in the 1600s it was only classical physics, but after 1900s, during the world wars, people started understanding the importance of physics. And when the wars were there, the nuclear explosions were there, then they were started understanding the importance of studying a new branch of physics, which they call the modern physics. In the modern physics, we are going to study about the quantum physics, the atomic physics, molecular, nuclear, high energy particles, like all those subatomic particles. There are many subatomic particles. Okay, until now you used to be hearing about only 3 subatomic particles, that is electrons, protons and neutrons. Now you are going to see there are many, though it is not going to be there as a part of your syllabus. But if you just try to understand the meaning of subatomic particles, it is not only the electrons, protons and neutrons. There are many other subatomic particles. All right, so those have to be also studied. So their study and all those things will be included in this new branch of physics, which will be called as the modern physics. Now there are some fundamental laws which will be controlling everything that is around us. Say for example the law of conservation of energy. You know the law of conservation of energy, law of conservation of mass, you have heard of them. Newton's laws also you have heard of that. Kepler's law you never heard of, but you will be studying it soon. And law of conservation of momentum also you have heard of this. These are the different laws. Not only this, there are many other fundamental laws like law of gravitations and all these laws. They are going to be controlling whatever is there around us. They are going to be helping us to understand our nature better and utilizing that things that has been gifted to us from nature for our benefit. Next is the fundamental forces in nature. These are the 4 fundamental forces, that is gravitational force, weak and strong nuclear force, and the electromagnetic force. The gravitational force is said to be there amongst everyone. Like everything in the universe is going to be attracting each other with a gravitational force. It may be a less, it may be more, but it will be there. Okay, the range has been given over here. This chart has been taken from NCERT. You can go through that NCERT, but you are just going to be needing this chart from that portion. Okay, so it is it operates all amongst the all objects in the universe, and all objects in the universe are attracting each other with a gravitational force. Next we have the weak and strong nuclear force. Okay, so nuclear forces means we are going to talk about something called the atoms, right? So in the atoms we have electrons, other subatomic particles, like I told you there are many. So one of them is neutrino. So these are very light, very negligible particles which are going to be having some force but not a lot, so they are known as the weak nuclear forces. We also have strong nuclear forces, which is mainly by the nucleons. Now what are the nucleons? They are nothing but the inhabitants of the nucleus. Who are the inhabitants of the nucleus? The neutrons and the protons. So you know, extracting a neutron and a proton from inside the atom is not quite an easy job. Alright, so we have to break the atom for that. So obviously it will be giving us a high amount of energy. So that is why it is becoming a strong nuclear force. Next we have the charged particles, which is going to be giving us the electromagnetic forces. Alright, you have heard about electromagnetic forces. You will be studying it in details in your later chapters. Now these are the different scientists with their different contributions and discoveries. Many of them ignore it. It is ignored mostly in your schools. This chapter is ignored, but I personally don't like to ignore the scientists who have helped us to understand the world so better. So I personally would suggest you to be studying this thing to understand who are the scientists. Though each of the scientists you will be studying in each of these respective chapters, but it is better to understand the laws before you start with the chapter. It is better to understand the scientists who helped in doing so. You can even find out about their life, and just it will be very inspiring for you all to understand physics and how these scientists have helped us to understand physics. Alright, so you can know about all these scientists. So this list is also been taken from your NCERT, since in your normal board books, that is in your ISC board, that is your Newton and all other books, doesn't have this list so well, and this mostly may be coming in the competitive exams, and competitive exams mainly follow your NCERT books, right? So if that's why I have given this charts directly from the NCERT books. You can study it from there also, or you can study it from here also. For your ISC this will be enough. Now these are the different technologies where physics has been used. Alright, so these are the different technologies where the physics has been used. You can even understand all around us there are so many things happening, and those things are going to be all because of physics. So many things we are, say for example the solar energy, the electrical energy that is going to be there, just in a simplest manner, if you think that is there, whatever is there around us, it is all because of physics. So, and because of the base that we have been created, that it has been created by whom? By the scientists itself. So whatever the scientists have created it for us, we have just utilized it, magnified it, and used for our own benefit. So that's all. Thank you.